Hello everyone, my name is OOM911, or at least that's my gamer tag, and today I'm going to start hopefully what will be a series of videos on World of Warships. Now, I haven't done YouTube videos in a while, so I may not be that good, but I hope you'll all watch anyway. Anyway, I'll explain the game for a bit, and then we'll get into some gameplay. So, this is the port. As you can see, you do all your operations. It gives you lists of things based on the ship you have, like, here's the Lexington I own, the aircraft carrier. Very nice ship. We got the Nagato. Once this loads up. There we go. Mutsuki. Being an alpha tester, I also got the Iwaki Alpha. Very nice greenish camouflage. The Yubari for now. And I also got my hands on an Aurora. The only Russian ship in the game at this time. So, yeah, this is the port screen, as I was saying earlier. I guess I'll take out the Nagato. But anyway, let's move on. Okay, next thing, modules. All the ships have their list of modules. This is like your upgrade menu. This shows you what ship came before, what ship comes after, the little parts you can upgrade the ship with, such as these. This is kind of like what you had in World of Tanks. The amount, however, differs depending on what tier the ship is at, and what kind of ship it is. Carriers tend to get unique ones. Next up, the tech tree. The tech tree, so far, isn't fully developed. You see there's holes here and there. We're only in closed beta test, but still, it's pretty good. And the American battleships are still missing, and the Japanese carriers are still missing. But, overall, you got all your destroyers, your cruisers, the carriers. Japan's got its line of cruisers with torpedoes, the battleship line for them with the famous Yamato at the end. We got the destroyers, a few premiums. The USA even has a few premiums, too. And then we got the USSR with just the Aurora premium ship. But, what else is there? Well, let's go to our profile. Here you will see the list of upgrades that we have so far. We're up to level 6. There isn't really any of the others yet. So at level 1, which you'll start off at, you can only play co-op battles, which is battles against AI on an player/AI team. This is like your training mode. You only get about half the experience and money that you would normally get from a normal random battle from it, but if you're just in for something casual and you don't like dealing with people that much, then you can always do that. There is random battles. You unlock them at level 2. You also get a small credit bonus for that. Level 3, you unlock your daily missions. They were set every 24 hours, of course. Level 4, you unlock free experience, the ability to use free experience. 5 times experience per battle. Additionally, the starting part, the ability to convert, all that good stuff. Level 5, you unlock your ship commanders. This is the first time you'll get commanders. The commanders are basically your only crew member that really matters. They unlock all the skills for your ship. You again get a little credit bonus, all good stuff. And then you get upgrades at level 6. This list goes on till we hit level 20. However, only up to level 6 has really been available yet. They're still probably working on more. Heck, there might be more than 20. Down here you can see the summary of your performance. Again, I'm just average. But, you know, that's how most people are. Oh yeah, a neat thing I didn't mention about the tech tree. Now, normally, in World of Tanks, you would click on the ship, or in that case, tank, and it would show you a picture, little pop-up picture, with details on the modules and that for available. However, if I want to take a look at the Yamato, I click on it, and although it's black and white, you get to see the ship. You can't exactly view it with any upgrades, even though the Yamato doesn't have any, but I'll go up to the Kamagi by going back one tier. And this one has upgrades. You can't exactly see what it looks like with upgrades, but you can see everything here. Again, you have the ratings over here on basic stuff. You can compare with these. Tells you how much it normally would have, yada yada yada, etc, etc. Over here, we click on our commander. He's got all his skills here, you can see. You can have up to, I believe, 20. Again, grand total of 20. There probably are still going to get more introduced, but this is the basic one. You get basic firing, and that for 1 point each. As you go down the list, they get more and more expensive. These ones are for 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, another interesting detail to mention is you cannot unlock, like, for example, level 2 skills until you at least have one level 1 skill. This happens for each individual level. So you have to have one skill in each thing. You have to have a level 4 skill before you can unlock level 5. A lot of the level 5 skills aren't really that common to see on ships, but they have small impacts, like you get more charges or more heals with your battleships, or smoke screens with your destroyers, or more AA bursts, or you can get more aircraft for squadrons by increasing a fighter by 1 or a bomber by 1. So, what else? I'm going to cut it right here because it might take me a while to get into a match, and it takes a little while to load. But anyway, I'll cut right here, and I'll see you in a match very soon. Alright, we got into a match on North. Oh, lightning strikes. Yes, that's one of the things on this map. They don't really do anything. Nice visual effect. You saw the one come down over there. So yeah, we're in the Nagato battleship. Nagato class. Battleships are, well, you could say they've got the most power, but they're the slowest. They're the tankiest. They can kind of self-heal, but not really. Unlike the other class, that's their unique feature, to give them more longevity against things like torpedoes, which are the bane of all capital ships. I'm going to switch over to AP because if I'm getting into a fight with another battleship, I'm going to want to get the heavy stuff out. You can see our carrier in the back, the Saipan, launching some bombers and some fighters. You can see all the ships spreading out. Now, to explain the classes, the symbols up top, you see. Triangles are the destroyers. If the symbol has 1 slash through it, it's a cruiser. If it has 2, it's a battleship. If it's got like a triangle followed by 2 squares, it's a carrier. Okay, here we go. There's a Fuso over there and a Pensacola. Or as we nicknamed them, Pepsi-Colas. Because it just sounds funny. But that is what it is. This is the first video. I'm probably only going to do this one match. Hopefully it shows up alright. But anyway, okay, we're aimed. I think I'm going to hit him. I might not. Looking at the arc, I might have... Oh, wait. Let's see. Did I hit him? Oh, yep, got a few hits. That's a good one. Now... Oh, he disappeared. Actually, I should put my scout plane up to increase the distance I can see, so you'll see him on the back there. And he takes off. Very nice. Nice effects. Ooh, took some damage from that hit. Not much, though. Light damage. Didn't really do much. Another round out. The battleships are the most kind of, how should I say it, passive class? Well, not passive, because you're shooting all the time, but you don't really do an awful lot, which is part of the reason why I prefer them, because it's more of a... you can take your time, you can think. Oh yes, another thing that's important to note, all you people coming over from World of Tanks. Never, ever stand still. The ships do not accelerate or decelerate very quickly. They do not turn very quickly. Everything in the game is rather slow. And this is important to note because if it was fast, it probably wouldn't feel like an actual ship game. Again, like, comparing this to World of Tanks. In World of Tanks, you're in a vehicle that weighs about, most of the time, well, the heaviest one was around 100 tons. Actually, the mouse, almost 200, I believe. Whereas right now, even a destroyer weighs around several hundred, and the battleship I'm in weighs several thousands, tens of thousands, a lot of just raw weight. But most of the time, we measure it by displacement or something like that. I'm not a big naval buff, and I can't really get into the history of most of these ships, so I'm just gonna always look at things from a gameplay standpoint. Now, the Nagato is one of my favorite ships in the game. Not so much in history, but it's a neat one. As for an historical fact, the Nagato survived the war and was used in 2 nuclear bomb tests. It survived both. The second one, which was an underwater one, caused a small crack, and it eventually sank, but the only reason they couldn't patch up the crack was because the ship had so much radioactivity on it. Now, in-game, the Nagato is unique. Some people would argue that the Fuso, which is a tier lower than it, is actually better because it has more guns, but the Nagato's got slightly better armor, though not as high, like better armor overall, but it's not quite as high in some spots. It does have a much higher velocity with its guns, which makes it easier to aim at max range, which I've been doing. Normally in the Fuso or the Congo, which came before this in the tech tree, you'll have a hard time hitting most things at max range. And somebody's in our cap circle. I don't know who, and getting back there will be difficult. I want to take out the guys over here first. Is the Fuso back in range? Yeah, he's back in range. Looks like he's looking over at me. So I'll turn a bit, because not all my guns were on target. Launch a couple more shells. Turn away a bit more. Again, with battleships, dodging is, how do I put it? A thing? That's kind of iffy. You're kind of all over the place in a battleship, and looks like one of the destroyers is near our carrier. I can't really help the carrier out. Now, I'm finding some cruisers over here, and a Fuso, as you've been watching for a while. I haven't fought a destroyer right now, and that's an important thing that I should get to. Destroyers are armed with torpedoes. Not all cruisers are armed with torpedoes. The Omaha is, not very long-range ones. But destroyers are, which makes them a big threat to battleships. Why is this important, you may ask? Well, if a destroyer gets near you and he launches a broadside of torpedoes, you will probably die. You just can't take a hit from those. And looks like... let me see there. Is that guy coming toward me? Yes, it looks like he is. Somebody has a little dive bomber that's taken an interest in me. Figure that. Well... yes, aircraft. Aircraft are an important thing in the game. Carriers control aircraft, as you've probably guessed. There are three kinds: fighters, dive bombers, and torpedo bombers. Torpedo bombers are the biggest threat most of the time, especially from skilled people. Dive bombers can be somewhat damaging. They tend to light you on fire often. They don't cause near as much damage as torpedo bombers, but they tend to, at least on the big ships, hit almost all the time, at least with one bomb. They are powerful for this reason against... oh, they are the most powerful thing for taking on an enemy carrier, because they will light the carrier's deck on fire, which prevents any aircraft from landing or taking off. This is important when you're chasing down a carrier to use HE shells as well, because if the carrier can't launch aircraft, he can't fight back. Unless, of course, you're in a ship that must get within, like, say, 5-kilometer range, so his secondaries can open up on you. Oh yeah, secondary guns. That's another important thing. Battleships, cruisers, and carriers all contain secondary guns. What are secondary guns? Well, they're AI-controlled guns attached to the ship. They don't have that great of range, they don't cause that much damage, but they're good for suppressive fire and support. This comes important when you're fighting things like destroyers that are very fast, in most cases much faster than your turrets can track. And if you can't track the target, you can't shoot him. So what do you do? Well, there are a lot of things you can do. But most importantly, you just don't want to end up in a situation where you have to deal with that.
Target penetrated.
I've been doing fairly well right now, and that's a good thing. The enemy has mostly spread out. Me and the two battleships over here. You see a Congo and a Nagato over there. We're doing pretty good, pushing around. Fuso over there is giving us some problems. There's the Omaha again. Oh yes, you've probably seen the AA do up there. AA is another AI-controlled thing. The player does not have control over it, although you can tell it what to attack. You can also tell the secondary guns to do the same kind of thing, what you want them to attack, but you cannot fire them yourself. And in this case, that kind of helps because the secondaries can engage multiple targets, whereas you can only really control your main guns to attack one at a time. For example, if there's guys in your port, your starboard, to your front or back, your secondary guns, depending on their arcs, will choose to engage different targets. The same goes for when engaging aircraft with anti-air guns. Oh yes, there's also dual-purpose anti-air guns. You'll see a couple of them right there by the towers, those big dual things with the little boxes beside them. Those are, I think, 127s for engaging aircraft. They're my flak cannons. Well, you have machine guns on your ship as well. The flak cannons engage first, they have the longest range, and a lot of them can be used against enemy ships. They aren't quite as effective as the dedicated guns for attacking ships, but they do help. Ooh, that was a good hit.
Enemy cruiser foundered.
Citadel them. That means critical, unlike World of Tanks, where a critical hit causes no damage. In this game, critical hits cause a lot of damage. A ton. Also, other special things are you can blow up the turrets on enemy ships.
Bullseye!
If you blow up a turret, it doesn't come back. It can get damaged and can come back, but if you blow one up, and I think this guy might have one, I don't know. No, he doesn't. They're all moving. Your secondary guns tend to get trashed very easily, but if,
We've destroyed an enemy
you know,
cruiser.
if your gun dies outright, it doesn't come back. Therefore, it is logically possible to lose every single gun on your ship, though most cases you'll die before that happens. And judging from where the torpedo bombers are, getting back into the game mode, it looks like they're coming from the northeast. Which means that the carriers are up there. Now, is that important? Well, probably. Though I'm probably never going to catch a carrier is the thing. Most of the carriers, with the exception of the Langley, actually they have a Langley, so I might be able to kill that one, are very, very fast. Oh yeah, another thing to remember for all you newcomers. Not everything in a ship's category is actually exactly what it seems. For example, the Congo over there is a fast battleship or battle cruiser, depending on who you ask and that kind of thing. It depends also on whether it's upgrade or not. A fast battleship or battle cruiser does not have as much armor as a normal battleship or battle cruiser. However, it benefits from one thing: speed. A lot of it. The Congo at full speed can go around 30 knots. I, at most, can go about 25. Which, sure, it doesn't sound that impressive right now, but when you're trying to chase down something like a carrier or something like that, it does come in handy. The fastest ship in the game currently is the Shimakaze, by the Japanese. That one goes at a speed of 40 knots. It is the fastest ship in the game, one of the hardest to see ships because it's a cruiser, a destroyer, and it will wreck house most of the time because it's armed with like 50 torpedo launchers. And we won the game. So that was a good match. Kind of what I was hoping for, a nice casual match where I could tell you the general thing about the game. As you can see, we have the personal score thing here. Missions. Got 2 out of 4. Landed 13 hits. Not that much, but then again, battleships cause a lot of damage per hit with each shell, but they don't tend to hit very often. Hits to the Citadel. These are important because these are your criticals. Shot down. It lists how many aircraft you shot down. This is individual aircraft, not the entire not listed by squadron. I destroyed 2 targets, basically that. Allied base capture. Let's look at the team score. As you can see, here's our team score. Looks like the Pensacola did the best on the team. You can organize them by kills, or you can do by experience. And the highest earning guy was a Farragut. And I hope it was above me. That one. Over here, let's see their best guy. A Hatsuharu. As you can see, now, there is a thing here currently. This is probably going to get fixed in the future. Now, normally this is 12 on 12, but as you notice, the teams don't really add up in number. This is because one team over here has more high-tier ships than the other, so what it does to balance them is it takes one ship from this team and puts it over here to balance everything out. This kind of works and kind of doesn't. Also, another thing to note, the tier disparity, despite you looking at this and seeming so different, it's not that bad, actually, because, for example, the Tier 1 cruisers that you all start off with are actually stronger than Tier 10 destroyers. They have slightly less firepower, but they have more health and around the same armor. They don't carry torpedoes, though, but it's like between tier to tier, the tier disparity is not as bad as World of Tanks. Everything can basically kill everything else. It just depends. I mean, there are balanced things. We're only in closed beta right now. Oh, that's interesting. I thought I shot down some dive bombers. No, everything I shot down was a torpedo bomber. Interesting. Here we can see damage caused. Damage caused by ramming, 0, yada yada yada. The numbers get very big, as you've probably noticed. Damage received, not that much. Only got hit 4 times. Credits, very nice. And anyway, that's it. Oh yes, another thing. Unlike World of Tanks, where you have just the back to garage or whatever, we have the back to port thing here, but we have another interesting button. Battle On. Now what does this do? This one basically will take you into the next, another battle, like it'll throw you back into the matchmaker with the exact same ship that you had just won with. Or, as long as you didn't leave this, if you hit that button, it'll take you back into the same, into another match, probably most likely another map, with the same ship, and you can keep fighting. And you can do this as much as you want, whenever you want. So anyway, that was my first episode of World of Warships. I hope you enjoyed, and hopefully I'll do some more of these. So thanks for watching, and I know this was the first episode. It probably wasn't that good, but hopefully everybody enjoyed it. I will see you next time. I'll probably try to make sure I put up at least one, if not more, per week, but I'm going to promise for now at least one. So, or at least try to get at least one. So anyway, I'll see you all next time. This is OOM 911 signing off.